Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been pretty crazy here. This is the time of the year when the tomatoes start coming in by the bucket load. We've got a lot of canning to do, so if you hang on, we'll show you how we can tomatoes here on the homestead. Alright guys, we're getting ready to can up these tomatoes, but I wanted to say before we start, there are a lot of different ways to can tomatoes. Now we've canned tomatoes for a long time, and we choose to use the raw pack method, which is a cold pack method. There's other ways to do it. You can heat the tomatoes up, you can use a pressure canner, but we use a raw pack method, and we can the tomatoes almost whole, but they're put in there cold, and you'll see how we process them. We'll walk you through that. But we wanted to let you know that, we've canned for a long time, but this is by no means a professional canning video. You should always follow the safe instructions of the USDA. We get kind of nervous putting videos out when it comes to food because, there's some inherent dangers to that, especially with these low acid foods. So we're going to walk you through the process. This is what we do. This is how we do it here. This isn't how you should do it. You should do it how you see fit to do it. But let's start this process off. We'll walk you through it. I've looked over the footage. The audio in the video is a little bit shaky. I hope you'll excuse that. But we'll walk you through it one step at a time, and we'll see you on the other end of the video. Alright guys, we had a pretty good haul of tomatoes, so we're going to be canning up probably just a single batch of tomatoes this evening. But just follow along and we'll show you what we're up to. Alright guys, step one is going to be just to get the tomatoes out and give them a first look. And we'll look them over for spots and holes or anything. And then Tina's washing them up and they're going over here on the tray. So that's step one. Alright guys, one thing I've noticed while I was standing here is that Tina is placing all of these tomatoes face down on the tray. And that's the bottoms of the tomatoes. And I know why. It's because she's going to cut an X in the bottom of each one of those. So when you cut that X into the bottom of the tomato, the next step over here is going to be to put them into boiling water. And when you drop them in that boiling water, if you've got that X cut in the bottom of the tomato, that skin will split all the way up the sides to the stem and peel right off. But I'll show you that process when she gets to cutting them. But I can see why she's placing them face down on the tray there. When they go in that boiling water, that skin will split right along that X. And it'll be all the easier to get it back off again. But I'll show you that here in a minute. Alright guys. While Tina gets some of this other stuff ready, we're going to go ahead and get these jars ready to put the tomatoes in. And to can tomatoes for quarts, you need 1 teaspoon of salt and 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. We'll go ahead and get that in the jar so that when she's ready to pack jars, they'll all be ready for her. Alright guys, there you can see Tina cutting those X's in the bottoms of the tomatoes. They'll go into this boiling water here for, they say 30 to 60 seconds, but really what you're doing is just watching for them to split. The skins to split, and they'll split right along that X. But then the tomatoes will come up there and they'll go into that ice water there. And once they come out of the ice water, let's see, we'll skip past Tina. They'll come over here onto, here's where she's getting them. They'll come over here onto this tray. They'll get the cores cut out of them. And then they'll go into that pan there. And we'll take them over and pack them in the jars. But we'll get back over here. Tina's getting these split up. That's just the first step. We'll bring you back when we move on. Alright guys, I just wanted to cut back in here real quick with a picture of these have now come out of the ice and they're over here on the tray to be trimmed. But I wanted to show you the way those skins will pull back when you cut that X in them. It makes them really easy to peel. But we'll get these ready to trim up and we'll come back to you. Alright guys, Tina's peeling these tomatoes here. And I wanted you to see just how easy those skins come off. Once they've been run through that boiling water and loosen that skin up, and then drop them in that ice water and cool them back off. She's got a good little pile peel there. They're nice dark red. I just wanted to show you that, you boil them until it loosens that skin up. They'll just peel right off for you. Alright guys, things are moving right along here. We got ones waiting to be skinned. We got some skinned. We got some scrap. After they've been skinned and chopped up, they go into this pan here, or that pan there. They come over here, and they get loaded into jars. So right now we're just packing them in their own juice up to about a 1/2 inch headspace. But we'll show you some more of that here in a minute, but we're just moving right along. Okay guys, Tina's sort of getting the process started here. But she's got her lids boiling back there, and probably shouldn't be too hard to boil them, but they get them wiped down. They're about a 1/2 inch headspace. They're just packed in their own juices and the salt and the lemon juice. But she'll get the jars ready. Then they'll come over here. We got the water warming up over here in the water bath canner. But I'm going to shut this off. She's 4'10", so it's my job to shut them off in the canner so she didn't have to reach up over the lip of that thing. So either I'm going to shut the camera off or they're going to stack up over there. So that's how you do it. She's just wiping them down, getting the lids on them. And they don't need to be bubbled too bad. We knock the bubbles out of them pretty much when we're packing them. You pack them so tight there aren't any air bubbles left in them. But we get them over here in the canner, and then I'll come back to you and tell you a little bit more. Okay guys, we got all 7 jars in here. We got the burner cranked up on high. We're going to bring this up to a boil. Once we get it to a boil, we'll leave it. We're going to put the lid on it, but once we get it up to a boil, we'll leave it for 85 minutes for quarts. And we'll bring you back when those 85 minutes have expired. So we'll be right back. That's how you do it. Alright guys, it's been 85 minutes. As you can see, we're up canning after midnight again, but it's been 85 minutes. We shut the burner off. We're going to go ahead and take the lid off of here. I'm going to back away so the steam doesn't fog the camera. But there you go. We're going to let them sit in here for another 10-15 minutes or so. Let that water temperature come down a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and pull them out so we don't shock them and they boil over. So we'll just let them cool down for a little bit. We'll be right back out here to show you what they look like. Okay guys, it's been about 15 minutes. The water cooled down. We've gone ahead and taken them jars out. But we're going to let them cool here and they'll seal up. And they may even ping while we're standing here talking. But I'm going to give you a little secret. I see a lot of people can tomatoes, and the tomatoes will always float up towards the top there, especially if you're using fresh vegetables and stuff. But if you don't want it, I see a lot of videos where there's, the top half of the can they've floated up. But when you're packing your tomatoes, if you'll keep pouring the liquid off and keep packing tomatoes in, you'll see you got more liquid in that jar than you think. And if you keep packing them and pouring the liquid off, you can kind of minimize the amount of, float that you get when you take your tomatoes out. But now that'll equalize back out as the jars seal and cool, and then you can just flip the jars around and they'll spread back out and it'll just look like a full jar of tomatoes. But it doesn't hurt anything. But you can kind of minimize it and get more tomatoes into your jars if you just kind of keep pouring that liquid off and let them sit for a little bit, pour the liquid off, put some more tomatoes in, and you can about get those jars packed about solid. But that's going to be our end result. I'll be back to wrap up the video, but that's canning tomatoes here on the homestead. Alright guys, that's about going to wrap it up for the video. Like I said in the beginning, there's lots of ways to do it. I'm sure there are several of you out there that may do it differently. I know you can use citric acid in place of the lemon juice. Some of the lemon juice quantities and salt quantities may vary from people's recipe to recipe, but that's how we do it. So we hope you enjoyed the video. We hope you'll give it a thumbs up and leave us a comment down below. If you have any questions, leave those down below too. We try to answer every comment that comes in and read through the comment section. We've got a lot of great people here on the channel. They leave a lot of great advice and comments down there. But and if you like the content here on the channel, I hope you'll go on and subscribe. There's a subscribe button down there, and next to that button is a little bell. If you ring that bell, that'll set you up for notifications, and you'll get a notification or an email whenever we release new videos. That way you can keep up with whatever's going on here on the homestead. But we're glad to have you guys here. We had a great time making the video. We sure enjoyed having you guys come by, and we'll see you in the next video.